Hi, everyone. Welcome to Finding a Job Virtually. My name is Laura Kepsel, and I am the Senior Manager for Alumni Relations here at the Washington Center.
And hi, everyone. My name's Priya Ganayaka. I'm a senior lead instructor here at the Washington Center, and we're really excited to get rolling with our presentation today. So I'm just going to take a moment to share my screen, and then Laura will give us an outline of what we will cover today.
In terms of what we're going to discuss today, we will go over job search strategies for best practices, some of our best job search websites that we both love, some remote job resources for you to find some jobs that are solely remote, who's hiring, how to get jobs by talking to people, and some job application material considerations.
Awesome. So I'm going to get rolling with some of our job search strategies. And so if you are on a job hunt, these are a few tips that we have simply to organize yourself and maximize your time, because we understand that job hunting is pretty exhausting. And so what both Laura and I recommend is that you only search for jobs one time a week. One day of the week, set it aside, and that'll be your job hunting day, rather than looking online every single day. Because if you think about it, if you set aside, say, Monday for your job hunting day, your job will only have been up for a week. You are not going to miss any application windows, and it will be totally fine. And it will set you up for success because you will not have as much burnout. With that, we highly recommend a weekly agenda so you know what kinds of tasks you'll work on, whether it's talking to individuals about your jobs, searching for jobs, or applying. And one of the tools that we really recommend and like is a Google Sheet. We like Google Sheets simply because you can access them from anywhere with any kind of laptop or computer, rather than having an Excel drive. This is an example of the kind of Google Sheet that I used. So you can see that it's organized by deadline. You can put the title of the position, the organization, a link to the job board, and any notes as well as contacts that you have. You can obviously amend this however you want and have as many tabs as you'd like. But we also recommend that you don't delete anything, because the organizations that you are drawn to are good for you to keep in mind in case you want to loop back and look at them in the future. With that, a few additional tips. We want to make sure that you keep a job search digest. So make sure that you have different websites. We're going to go into that in just a moment of some that you can use. You want to make sure that you check the job posting date, because if we know that we are now applying in the age of COVID, and so things have changed for different organizations. There might be hiring freezes or differences in hiring strategy. So if things were posted from the end of March to now, you're probably pretty good. But if they are before that, we recommend that you check with that organization and ensure that it is still an available and open position that they are hiring for. With any job you apply for, highly recommend that you keep a Word doc that's separate for each job, because if you look at those job links, they tend to expire. And when you go in for the job interview, you want to make sure that you have that handy. So if you have a one Word document, has the full job description, as well as the application materials, the resume and the cover letter that you amended for that in one document, then that's good to go for you. At any point, you can pull that up and reference it at any point. So when we were talking about a job search digest with different kinds of areas to look in, these are some recommendations that we put together for you all. So you can see these 5, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Indeed, Monster, and Career Builder. These are our more general websites. So these ones tend to be from all different kinds of jobs, all across the board, all across geographically. However, there are more specific job boards. So we wanted to highlight a few of those. There's far more than this, but these are ones that we really like. If you're interested in startup, Angel List is a great one. Nonprofit jobs historically has always been on Idealist. If you're looking at the federal government, USA Jobs. Political or Hill jobs are on bradtravers.com or tommonatos.com. And then if you're interested in international policy or think tanks, Global Jobs is a fantastic resource. And this last one is a little different. It is the Return Peace Corps Volunteer Career Link website, which is free and open to the public. So this is a list of entry-level jobs that are all across the board industry-wise, but tend to be more social sector specific. And last but not least, what we recommend is looking at listservs and job boards that are sector specific. This is a great question to ask during an informational interview. You can ask your supervisors, colleagues, faculty members, or co-peers what kinds of job boards they're in. If you want to get an idea of what a job board looks like, these are two that we recommend. It's Clean Energy Jobs and the Early Career Climate Forum. And that'll give you an idea of what you're looking for. So I'm just going to pause here and see if we have any questions. And if not, we'll hand it off to Laura.
Great. Okay. Well, moving on. And just as a side note, our emails will be at the end of this presentation. So if you are watching this after it's been recorded, feel free to reach out to Pri or I with any questions you think of. Okay. So next slide, Pri. Great. Okay, so let's discuss remote job search websites. So many jobs right now are remote, at least for the moment, but that may change once things are kind of more business as usual. But right now, if you're thinking, I would just like a remote job that I know will remain remote, or maybe you're trying to find some part-time jobs, there are tons of websites solely dedicated to remote work. So the first link that I've included is 25 best sites for finding remote work. And there are tons more websites, clearly, but just to name a few, there's FlexJobs, Remote.co, and Just Remote are a few that are great to check out for full-time jobs, part-time jobs, etc. The next one is temporary, part-time, or remote work during COVID-19. We realize that right now, finances are really tight. You may need something right now. So in that case, there are tons of companies hiring for some temporary, part-time work that is remote. There's also some that are in person, if you are willing to identify the risk factor. And if you're comfortable with that, things like Instacart, delivery services, grocery stores, those are actively seeking people. So there's tons of little part-time work you can do either remote or in person. And then next, this is a guide that we released recently, and this will be on the same page as this recording. It is called Cracking the Code, How to Navigate the Workplace in Your Job Search Virtually, and it's specifically a guide for graduating in the age of COVID-19. So there is tons of resources on that page specifically for remote work, for virtually interviewing, but on that page as well, there's other things like how to work at home without going crazy, and how to navigate Zoom if you have a weird background in your house and things like that. So all of these links will be very helpful for you. And then let's discuss who is hiring right now. You may be thinking, no one's hiring. Of course not. Actually, shockingly, there are quite a few companies that are hiring. So to figure this out, the first resource you can use is there's a LinkedIn report that is literally called Who is Hiring. This will be on your homepage right to the top right of your page, and it's updated regularly. So click on that and it will show a bunch of different companies and like approximately how many positions. So things like the US Census, they are hiring 400 plus positions right now because you all got the letter in the mail. They're trying to figure that out right now, and that didn't stop because of COVID-19. So that is a great list to check out for either temporary or just full-time positions. The next is a website called Candor, which is solely dedicated to noting which companies have hiring freezes, who has layoffs, who is still hiring. And this is updated every single day, constantly. So that is great to check out, especially before, if you find this awesome job, you're like, Booz Allen posted this, I want to check it out right now. This is a good website to check out first. Go and see if they have any hiring freezes, whatever. I will tell you now, they are doing hiring freezes because I've had students looking at jobs there and I wanted to check. So check that out before you waste your time doing job application materials, because it is the worst feeling in the world if you wasted hours, you perfected this beautiful cover letter and resume, and then they're not hiring. So check that out first. The next is just in general, like I said, US Census is hiring, and then government jobs as well. So the government, if any of you are looking at federal jobs, they are still very actively hiring. If anything, they are the one industry that was untouched by this in terms of jobs. They have only increased. So actually, it is so important now that they have identified on USA Jobs which positions are specifically like they need to hire first. So there is like an increase in time. So normally it takes forever to get a background check. They are trying to get this done because they need people. So they've identified a label that says COVID-19, which means this position is vital. And it's not just healthcare jobs. There are like IT analysts and workforce development analysts. So all of those are still active. And the Pathways internship program, which is great for if you're either in school or even for recent graduates. They have 2 different pathway internships, that's what it's called. It's not with a specific program. It is in multiple industries. They're still hiring. So if you're interested in that, that is still a choice for you. Just make sure you do a federal resume, and all of those can be found on USA Jobs. Great. Okay. So are there any questions for us? Okay. If not, I will hand it off to Pri.
Thank you, Laura. So with that, we wanted to also give you an idea of different kinds of ways that you can get jobs. And so one of the ways you can do this is through informational interviews. And so with this, we have a list of people that you can reach out to that you may already know. So you've got your alumni from your university that you can find via LinkedIn. You can ask your internship supervisors and coworkers for connections. You can apply through any of your career service websites. So things like Handshake, Simplicity will help you. All of these things will help you get that extra bump to take your application to the top of the stack. If you're curious about how to search on LinkedIn, we're happy to help you with filtering those results. And it is a fantastic tool to see who's available and who's working in companies or industries that you might be interested in, and you can filter down to as specific as you want. And it is a nice way to reach out to people that you might not be able to connect with otherwise. So the internet is your friend. So Google can also help you with online searching. So if you search LinkedIn, you can search for specific companies instead of just alumni. So if you know for a fact that, say, Booz Allen, like Laura just said, is your dream company, then you can see who works there and what locations they're in. Are you able to reach out to them? Can you set up an informational interview? Right now is a really great time to do these. Everyone is virtual, everyone is home, everyone has time. So you can do a Zoom call or a FaceTime and just get some insight into the company. This is also a great time to touch base with those HR procedures. Like Laura mentioned, there might be hiring freezes or positions that are being prioritized right now. And you can figure that out by talking to someone who works there. So that's where we say informational interviews are your best friend. No matter what the hiring climate is like, it is always great to get an insider scoop and have someone help move your application along. So with that, the TWC alumni LinkedIn also has a group job board. So that will be updated with alum who are hiring within their companies. So it is, again, the established connection that you can utilize. And last but not least, there are a lot of staffing agencies that are still hiring and still placing. 2 of the ones that we work with here at TWC very regularly are ROCKS and RP Staffing. They specialize in recent graduates. They specialize in a variety of roles, so they are not sector specific. However, there are staffing agencies that are. So again, feel free to reach out to Laura or I if you have any questions about either of those options.
And also about RP Staffing, we are doing a session with them on April 30th where we have a professional recruiter coming in, and she will say exactly what she's looking for with new candidates, how to rock an interview in general and with her. And all of those are based in DC. So there are tons of staffing agencies not based in the DC area. So if you're looking for jobs in your home state, that is also fine. And so let's discuss job application material considerations. So let's discuss your May graduates. We know a lot of you are graduating in May. There may be some December ones. So for those in December, just consider this timeline, but push it back to your month. So in terms of government jobs, as we said before, those background checks take forever. It takes about 6 months on average, maybe even longer, just depending. So you want to start those early. You don't want to be like, I graduate in May, I'll just wait till April. Don't do that. You got to move faster. So you want to start in August is probably like a good time. So make sure you check out USA Jobs at that point. So next is business and consulting jobs. If any of you want to work in like Booz Allen, Deloitte, any of those kind of consulting gigs, their specific hiring window is August through September, and then October is just the stragglers. So if you wait until spring, they're not hiring anymore. They did all their hiring in the fall. So make sure you are fully prepped if that is the area you want to go into. And then all other jobs in general, it is a safe bet, like nonprofits, startups, like anything else I didn't mention. That is usually about mid to late February is a good time to start. You can do some casual searching before, but the problem is if you apply too early, they get all excited and then they're like, oh, you're not free till May. Well, we need someone right now. So starting about mid to late February, you're usually pretty safe there. And then you can get everything arranged by, March or April. So when to submit a cover letter, for those business and consulting jobs, they typically don't have an option to submit a cover letter. So they don't really have time to read them. So unless there is something urgent that you need to share with them, don't submit a cover letter for those. If you do need to, there is a way that you can combine your cover letter and resume in the same document. So you just put the cover letter first, after your signature, you put enclosure, and then that means your resume is right there in the same document. Typically, you should always submit a cover letter and it should always be tailored, even though it sounds like a pain. If you are essentially applying to the same couple companies, like I said, tailoring your resume and cover letter for every job, if you're applying to the same couple industries, like maybe sustainability and government work, that means you've prepared your federal resume and you've prepared a really great sustainability resume. So at that point, you're really just making some minor tweaks every time because typically they have similar job descriptions. But they can tell if you're submitting the same general resume and cover letter every time. So do yourself a favor, really tailor that because a lot of them are using artificial intelligence software as well, which means that they're looking for specific keywords. And if they're not in your resume, they're like bottom of the pile, like they didn't even mention this. So even things like Microsoft Office Suite, you may think, it is 2020. Everyone knows how to use Microsoft Office Suite. If it's on the application, the job description, you should put it on your resume anyway, because they're looking for it. They want to make sure you have it. And you don't want them to falsely assume that you don't have it. So make sure following that. CV versus resume, the only time you're going to be using a CV specifically is if you're in academia. So that would be like PhD programs, if you want to become a professor, things like that. Federal resume is very similar to a CV in that it is super long. It's like 3 to 5 pages. It's everything really that you've ever done related to the position, obviously, but very long. Normally, you're going to be submitting the good old resume. So for undergrads, it is 1 page. It is only for graduate students that you can kind of go to 2 pages, and some companies even still get mad. So 1 page is a safe bet. Stay with that. And then talk to your lead instructor. We are literally here to help you with this exact stuff. We know it is really hard. You're applying to a bunch of jobs right now. If you need a second set of eyes, utilize your lead instructor. If you're an alumni looking at this, utilize me. I'm doing free career counseling for all alumni, and I'm happy to look over your materials. So definitely do not forget to utilize your resources.
Thanks, Laura. And one other fun tip is I've learned when doing a training was think about your application in terms of a 12-12-12 rule. So imagine that it's midnight, your hiring manager has worked a 12-hour day, you are 12th down on that pile. How are you going to stand out? And as Laura said, if you don't have those keywords, if you don't have the language that they already have and you didn't emulate it, they're just like, oh no, it's too much work. And so you want to make this as streamlined as possible and show that you read the job description, you know the company mission statement, and you did your research. All right. So here we have Laura and mine's contact information. You're welcome to directly email either of us with any follow-up questions. And we'll be here waiting in the room if you want to have more one-on-one time for questions. Laura, do you have anything else to add to close?
I think that is it. We realize again that this is a really weird time. So seriously, utilize your resources. Check out some of those links that we posted that we mentioned. There's tons of good material that we didn't even mention on here yet because there's that much good stuff in there. So look at all of those as well. And we are really excited for you to start this job search.
Yeah. Thank you all. We look forward to hearing from you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.